Price has dropped on a new round of SDHAM. John, hear you there. Thanks for coming by. Hang on, let me check my hair for a second. I know this is so incredibly vain. That's the beauty of having a return monitor. Okay. Plastered down for a little bit anyway. John, hear you there. Thanks for coming on for a Wall Pass Wednesday. It is the Tyler Pilgrim section in hour number one, where we break down everything Atlanta United. There was a bit of a piece of a transfer rumor involving someone that we still follow as attached to Atlanta United. So I guess Atlanta United adjacent for both personnel and legal reasons. And so we'll talk about that, talk about Atlanta United, talk about DC, talk about Toronto, talk about the state of play. That's hour number one. Hour number two, if he's awake, because I think MLSsoccer.com's Dylan Butler had the late show, and Austin and San Jose went to penalties. So I'm guessing Dylan probably went to bed about 1:30 or 2 o'clock Eastern time. And so if Dylan is awake, we'll talk to him then about Open Cup. If he's not awake, we'll talk about Open Cup and about everything else in tournaments and things like that, because Club World Cup happened yesterday. It's happening again today. Chelsea over Fluminense, and Chelsea continues to advance. And so Chelsea, the number was out. I think it's in the 30s. I think the $33 million so far for Chelsea in the tournament, and I think that they stand to get another $7 million, I think is how this works. So we'll talk Club World Cup, we'll talk Euros, we'll talk Open Cup in hour number two. And at 10:30, this is, excuse me, wow. This is where the fun part starts. 10:30, you're in the round of, I think you're in the round of 16, if my math is correct, in the WPSL playoffs. Chattanooga FC women's head coach Juan Hernandez is going to join us, and we're going to break down everything, getting ready for the playoffs, what it's been like to be a part of the sprint, because the way that things work out now in the WPSL is that you are in the round of 16, but this weekend you literally are going to play twice. And if you win, then you're playing on a quick turn and you're getting ready for everything that is the postseason in the WPSL. And no, I don't want to, as much as I may like that Treasure Coast Radio might be something to listen to high on the AM scale, I'm looking for WPSL soccer. So WPSL championship is in Stillwater, Oklahoma in 11 days' time. So literally, you get to the Final Four, and then you sprint to Stillwater, Oklahoma. Here's the rundown of where things are in the WPSL playoffs in the bracket. Right-hand side is in Temecula, California, SoCal Union and Spokane Shadow, Cal Storm and El Paso Surf. That is on the 12th, which is what day of the week? Saturday. So it is Saturday, and then it is Sunday. Literally, Saturday, Sunday, and then you're heading to Stillwater, Oklahoma. Right-hand side of the bracket, low right, Chattanooga FC. They are the early game in Washington, D.C., where they take on Arlington Soccer Blue. Arlington Soccer Blue. Sure thing. They play at 5 o'clock on Saturday. I'm looking at the calendar. It is the 12th. So Saturday afternoon, they're the early game in Washington, D.C. And then the winner of that one gets McLean Soccer and Louisiana Crew Rush. Semifinals on Sunday at 8. Then you go to Stillwater, Oklahoma. Left-hand side of the bracket. So the West plays the South. So that's right-hand side of the bracket, WPSL. Then Central, it is once again on Saturday, and it's Saturday, Sunday, in Oklahoma City. St. Croix Legacy, Union KC, Oklahoma City FC, Austin Rise. Those four are in the Central. That's upper left as you're filling out your brackets. Winners of that one play 7 o'clock local time on Sunday. Then I know that Oklahoma City FC is looking forward to hopefully winning that bracket and just going over to Stillwater. Then the East is in Niagara Falls, New York. Niagara 18-12 and Sporting Connecticut. Sporting CT, not Sporting KC, but Sporting CT. And that is a 1 o'clock start Eastern time. And then at 4, Brooklyn City in Pennsylvania, PA Classics. I don't know if I can say Pennsylvania Classics, but it's PA Classics. So that's your round of 16 right now in the WPSL playoffs, official bracket. Winners play at Oklahoma State on the 20th, 8 o'clock Eastern time for the WPSL championships. We're in the round of 16. We're catching up with Juan Hernandez at 10:30 this morning to break down the season to this point. how tough it was to get out of the Southeast and how tough it is to have to go one and then back again on the road. My guess is leaving for Washington, D.C., they're probably doing it tomorrow just so they can get up there, get settled. But we'll ask all the questions, trying to get ready for a Saturday kick and possibly a Saturday-Sunday kick, and then having to turn around. And then on the 18th, this is what happens when you need an ophthalmology appointment. The 18th is when you have your Final Four. So it is Friday, Sunday, next Friday, Sunday, 18th and 20th. Central plays the East. West plays the South. So Chattanooga FC, Arlington Soccer Blue, McLean, LA Crew Rush, SoCal Union, Spokane, SC Shadow, Cal Storm, and El Paso Surf. Those 8 right-hand side of the bracket, and they work their way into the middle. So Juan Hernandez joining us at 10:30. He'll break down the season, break down the WPSL, find out what we've all been missing when it comes to the WPSL in general, if you haven't been following our coverage, whether it's with Decatur FC or Impact or really that particular division. It's one of the toughest divisions in the country. And right now, CFC has made it to the Final Four in the South, and we'll talk to him at 10:30 about everything going on there. So that is the rundown for the morning. Tomorrow, once again, it is morning, Sharif. Summer plans. Summer plans are always good. And Michael, obviously being the Chelsea fan, getting the win over Flu yesterday. So morning, Sharif, morning, Michael, and morning, everybody. So that's the rundown for today. Tomorrow, Power Hour, in hour number 2, Nino and Nico will discuss Portugal. We'll discuss Mihai and what he was to Famalicão, and we have all the other transfers, Gyökeres, Dembele, all of those transfers that are attached to Portugal and the world. But I want to focus on Nea Mihai and what he brings to the table for Atlanta United with Nino Torres from Goal TV and our buddy Nico Moreno breaking down everything in the Pacific perspective. We'll talk about Stefan Fry. He was at practice yesterday, which is a great sign. And we'll discuss everything that happened in and around that moment on the weekend with Seattle and Columbus. We'll start there, work our way forward. And then we are efforting our standard guests from Major League Soccer and Apple TV. Hopefully they can join us at 10 o'clock as they always do on Friday morning. We're chasing Jessica Charman to see where she can join us here on Thursday or Friday. So it's a pretty busy week as we get you ready for Atlanta traveling to Toronto. Remember, it is unified activity as well that is going on with Atlanta United. So they're taking on Toronto FC's unified team. This is a first. Going north of the border to take on a team in Toronto, take on any Canadian side attached to Major League Soccer, frankly. And so the goal is to catch up with Marty Jellamy, the head coach of Atlanta United's unified team, next week, because you had your all-star announcements yesterday, and that was a really cool thing that they posted on social media. And you got to see the 2 representatives for Atlanta United's unified team making it to the all-star game. And very, very cool moment there. If you missed it on social, go back and watch. But we'll try to catch up with Marty after the Toronto match leading into Genuine Cup. And that's the next appearance for Atlanta United. So here's how it runs. This month alone, it is Atlanta United's unified team going to Toronto this weekend. Big experience for them. Very, very cool opportunity. Then you've got All-Star 22nd, 23rd in Austin. Then after that, the end of the month, the Genuine Cup in Houston, 29 through 1, I believe. So you've got all of these different moments for the unified team to keep an eye on over the next little bit as well. So we'll try and catch up with Marty Jellamy next week and see if we can get our unified update coming out of the Toronto visit, leading into All-Star and leading into Genuine Cup. So that's the plan anyway when it comes to Atlanta United and the unified team coming up with their very, very busy July. And that's very, very cool. So once again, remember, for Atlanta United, it is in Toronto, and then they're back home. Huzzahs and hoorays, they're back home for the first time in like 90 years. Matches at home for Atlanta United, 3 of them coming up in a row. and it's 3 matches in 11 days. It is Chicago a week from today. Once again, they played last night in Open Cup, and this is a part of our Open Cup discussion. Oh boy, I texted Bart as things were going on in the first half of that match, and it was how do I phrase this? How do I phrase? How do I phrase this? It was wild. You end up with you end up with a series of events in moments where you go to VAR. First off, you have contact with an elbow, and we may even start our discussion with Tyler involving said elbow. And you go from an elbow, and I think we may just go ahead and discuss Open Cup and elbow, considering it was Julian Gressel that was the recipient of the Omar Gonzalez elbow. It was an elbow that was raised, and then VAR comes through and says, you know what, we're going to look at this, and it ends up Omar Gonzalez getting a red card. He goes, and then, of course, 3 minutes later, Minnesota is called for a penalty. Chicago's Brian Gutierrez scores from the spot to make it 1-0. And then you end up with Katja Koroleva being stuck in the middle of a play, and she gets stepped on. Like, literally, all this happens within like 5 minutes. So that we'll have that on the table as well, with everything involving the day that was. He's out on the lanai this morning. Okay, I see how this works. He wanted to breathe the humid air of the southeastern United States. So,
yeah. Can you hear the neighbor doing yard work?
Kind of, sorta.
Wonderful. Okay. Maybe I'll just move.
Okay. Well, feel free to move. You don't have to hang up if you trust your signal. I mean, it's perfectly fine.
Oh no, I'll move. I'll just move to another location. So anyway,
yes. So he just did he not quite understand that you're doing live TV and radio and media and all these things? Did he not quite understand this, your neighbor? Question mark.
No, literally right when I went on here with you, I clicked the link. I hear him start deciding now is the perfect opportunity to go trim all of his bushes out front.
Oh man. See, that's just not that's not cool, as the kids say.
No, it's rude.
That is quite rude, especially when there's live programming that's attached.
Yeah.
You know, so there were a couple of things that I wanted to discuss with you this morning. Obviously, Atlanta United and DC and Atlanta United and Brad Gazan and Thiago Almada and Toronto coming up and the road trip up there tomorrow. So I guess what we'll do, we'll go backward. And I also want to, Club World Cup, we got that to talk about too, considering it was inside the building where we are used to seeing Atlanta United. Where would you like to start? You want to start Club World Cup now that it's over and done and headed up to the Meadowlands and they've had stuff there? Or do you want to start with Atlanta United? Where do you want to go?
We can start with the Club World Cup. That sounds good to me.
Okay, so Club World Cup, it was 6 matches at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And the chaos that is normally attached to your PSG Bayern Munich matchups, it was just your average, normal, everyday PSG and Bayern matchup. It was chaos, but I think it was a good example of what it could look like in a year when it comes to people and traveling folks and fans and just the vibe in the building and grass holding up for as long as it did inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So Club World Cup, go.
I thought, first of all, the Bayern PSG game, there was everything I wanted it to be except for the fact that Munich lost. I traveled all the way across an ocean only to see their empty stadium, which was great, only to then have to come back here to see them actually play in person. But no, I mean, I think overall Atlanta showed really well in terms of fans coming, the attendance. I know that's been point of contention that's gotten on my freaking last nerve. But as far as like how Atlanta did, I thought they did really well. The only one that you could look at and say, well, the attendance wasn't great, would be the first one where you had essentially a substitute team pop in, and the game was played on Monday at 3 p.m.
This is what I'm saying.
Right. Like, what do you expect to have happen here? So, no, I mean, I think it was a great kind of appetizer for what's going to happen next year. And I think it just kind of really showed the world, like, well, at least at that stadium, and that fan base, that's going to be a pretty cool place to go watch some actual very important soccer games.
And I mean, Beyonce has said she wants the roof closed, and so we understand the value of having the roof closed in that building, whether it's for athletics or entertainment purposes. But I mean, some folk, when you're having pregame fireworks, can you at least not have pregame fireworks, or at least open the doors and the vents and everything, so we're not kind of staring through things. I think that's probably the biggest thing for me. Keep
some ventilation would be nice.
Vents open, please. You had, I mean, I can't say enough about the volunteers, and some of them are a lot of our plus ones and our A-listers that we run into about this whole thing. And I know that you guys at SNS, you had your time over at Signia, and you get to kind of lob water balloons at everybody that was wandering into the building. And I think at times that was probably a good thing considering the temperature outside. But, you look at the biggest thing that I think got on our collective nerve was the idea of the scheduled 3:00 kick on a weekday afternoon in the middle of summer for a matchup in this tournament. Bruh, what did you expect? ? People are working.
Right. Like, this decision was dumb. I don't know what anybody expected that to happen. I mean, and I get it, with a thing like this, you have to balance people being there in person and people watching at home. I don't know that in 2026 you'll have to worry about that as much, just because it is the World Cup and people will find a way to get to whatever stadium they want to go see the soccer game at, come hell or high water, pricing, whatever. But the Club World Cup is not to that same degree. And I think we all understand that. But at the same time, like, considering what the prices were, you would think FIFA would want to maximize the amount of butts in seats and not eyes on the TV.
But you still had 30,000 in the building.
You still had 30,000, and that's the thing. That's more than you're going to get in an LAFC home match. That's more than you're going to get at a lot of home matches maxed out in Europe, right? Like, I just don't understand, the complaints that have come along. And I think it was like, some people just use it as oh, look, this proved my point. And it really didn't. It just proved that stadiums in the U.S., like everything else, are bigger, because that's just how it is over here. Like, you have much more room to cover. We tend to build things, in some cases, maybe way bigger than they should be. But just because you had 30,000 people in the bins, that's not a failure. That's just maybe not the best planning for one match.
But you still had 30,000 people in the bins on a Monday afternoon at 3:00.
You did. Including us.
Yeah.
Crazies.
Well, and I mean, because we're wired that way anyway. I mean, that's just, you look at and for me, I look at the group stage, and I was like, yeah, give me all the cool kids. Give me the ones that are not the ones you don't normally get to see. And I was in line. You mentioned the LAFC, the Team 32. Literally, you got X number of days notice. All of the 3252 that hopped on overnight flights, flew to Atlanta, stood in line, and they did not all the 3252s made it because of apparently like traffic in the Denver airport and missing connecting flights and all that kind of stuff. Lesson: don't fly Frontier. Just saying, or any similar airline. So you still had the 3252 show up for that match. They still showed up on a Monday afternoon, noon kick. So I'm guessing they were getting ready for, they were ready for lunch. And they admitted to me in line, we flew out overnight to see this match. We can't miss any more work. We're flying back home. Literally, we've got like 7:30 and 8 o'clock flights to get out of here to go back home. That's the kind of sicko that you got, and I mean that in the best way possible, for this kind of a tournament. And I give the LAFC fans a boatload of credit, and you saw a lot of that in this tournament.
Yeah, and that's what you hope to see, right? Because, again, the narrative is, oh, look, U.S. fans, they don't show out for their team. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to compare flying for one match from L.A. to Atlanta,
mm-hmm.
last minute, that is. I'm just curious. I'm gonna do something here while I'm filibustering.
Okay.
Let's see. How far is L.A. to Atlanta compared to two large cities in Europe?
Okay.
And let's just see how many countries you have to cross.
Okay.
Oh, of course. AI's like, oh,
I don't know.
I can't answer your question right now.
All right. So first question for AI: how far is it from Atlanta to Los Angeles?
Oh, it's thinking now. It's thinking.
So
Here we go. Nope. It didn't think.
Okay. So
I have a backup.
Okay. So hey AI, how far is it from Atlanta to Los Angeles? That's your first question.
Well, we know that's about what 2,700 miles or so.
Okay. So all right. So now we're doing Google.
Okay, no, it's not. I'm sorry. It's 1,950 miles. So okay, so here we go. The other AI decided it wanted to work today.
Okay.
This is ridiculous. All right. And let a freaking fan complain about this and make fun of American fans one more time. London to Athens, Greece, or PSG, Paris, France to Trabzonspor, whatever, in Istanbul, Turkey.
Yeah, Trabzonspor in Turkey. Yeah.
So that's the kind of flights that you're looking at.
Yeah.
To go fly from Paris to Turkey or London to Athens, that's insane. And then y'all have the audacity to be like, well, nobody showed up. Get the fuck out of here.
Wow! He brings the E rating in for us this morning.
Sorry.
23 minutes in. Sure, that's fine with me. Jarrett does it all the time. So
no more for me. No more for me. It irks me, man. It drives me crazy.
I think it does a little more than irk, sir. But that's perfectly fine. Yeah, and I mean it was. I give a lot of the fans a lot of credit, but to your point, going from Paris to Trabzonspor in the Turkish league, which I'm sure happens in maybe Champions League or Europa or something like that. But this is like on a weekly basis. Everybody's sitting there, and you saw the older players from Major League Soccer or from outside of Major League Soccer when they got signed in for MLS 1.0 or 1.5. Man, I didn't know what the travel was like. Well, yeah, of course you didn't. You're used to going on like
you do.
a train or a Ryanair hop flight in the Premier League, and now you know what it's like to go from Messi and Friends Erector Set to Lumen Field in Seattle, bruh. And you still had people show up. I mean, you had the 2 millionth fan for the Club World Cup was in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium for the Monterrey match. So you're probably looking at what, by the time you're done, I'm guessing, 2.5 million, something close to that. But, I'm guessing 2.5 million fans for this tournament where, hey, guess what happens in the South in the summertime in late afternoons? Rain? Gee, I didn't know that happened. And I'm shocked about all of this. Why do you think you had weather delays at the Purple Team Stadium? Because you had it in Orlando, Florida, in open air in the middle of summer.
Right. Like if you're not getting a random storm and rain in Florida, then you might as well go ahead and bend over and kiss yourself goodbye because the world is ending. That's just how it is in Florida. So, yeah, I don't know what you expect. Miami, the same way. I mean, that's just part of the game being in Florida. But then, I mean, really, yeah, the entire Southeast. I mean, we went through here in Georgia. Thankfully, we have a roof. But we went through, 3 weeks of like every day it was raining at random times throughout the day.
Yeah.
And then I think it was the Monterey match where coming over from you talking about throwing water balloons at people, walking over from the Signia to get into the stadium, I was thoroughly soaked by the time I got over, because I think it was that match. It poured outside for all of maybe 20 minutes
Yeah.
before kick until right after kick.
Well, so when you're leaving Signia, do you go ground floor and then go into the orange deck and work your way under that way?
No, we come out, literally there's a door that comes out right at the backyard. We cross into the backyard, go up the stairs from the backyard, and then you're right there at the gate. The problem was I could go through the orange deck and like stay undercover and all that. My wife asked me the same exact question. But it had poured down rain and then stopped.
Yeah.
Right when our show stopped. And so I was like, all right, well, let me get over there real quick. It's not going to do it again. And I was incredibly wrong. The moment we stepped outside and went down onto the road next to the backyard,
of course,
the bottom fell out again.
Of course. Yes. That never happened.
Yeah.
There was, what was the other thing that was irking me publicly, having to do with the Club World Cup? We talked about the fans.
Is it the individual walkouts?
Well, that's part of it. I mean, I get what you're trying to do, turning it into a rock concert, but that really wasn't. It's like, nah, I get it. You're trying to be different, but I don't know. I don't know if I dig that.
It was not my favorite. It just took too long, in my opinion.
It's just like, get him out there and light the candle and let him go. But I understand the whole idea of the pomp and circumstance and everything. And no, I get it. It's like, I get it. I understand where you're coming from and all this kind of stuff, but, Club World Cup, we got the second semi today. No Pacho and no Lucas for PSG going up against Real Madrid, as Chelsea beat Fluminense yesterday. Fluminense had a couple of chances, and they also had a PK taken away from them on VAR. Sure. Yeah. So when your arm isn't by your side and you have the ball impacted and your arm goes like away from your body, that's a PK until it's not a PK. All right. Good to know.
They took that lesson from the U.S. men's national team school of getting handballs as well.
Yeah. So it should have been, and my guess is that should have been an early shout for an equalizer, and then I think the game would have been different. But anyway, Chelsea goes on. They're going to be playing in the last match of the Club World Cup against the winner of Real Madrid and PSG. Good luck. I salute you both as you chase after Chelsea. Chelsea is going to be, I wonder which of the 45 players on Chelsea's roster currently, which 20 are going to be there. I'm just, did I say that out loud? Did I say that in my out loud voice?
How many billions of dollars are going to be out on the pitch at any given time?
Billions of dollars. Billions of dollars. Okay. Probably. Oh, good deal. All right. So as of now, actually, from Atlanta United,
yes,
the unveiling of the renderings and updated plans for the Emory Healthcare Studio, state-of-the-art content production studio set to debut as part of the club's $23 million expansion to the headquarters in Marietta. It's the Emory Healthcare Studios and official healthcare provider of Atlanta United. Naming rights inclusive of 2 digital content studios as well as podcast and esports space. Wow. Okay. So, man, you're going to have Neto kicking people's butts around the world from the Emory Healthcare Studios now. It's like, I got a home game. I'm going to beat you from home.
When we did that tour, that was literally what I kept thinking. I was like, man, Paolo's just going to be up here at like 2:00 in the morning just destroying people in this game while nobody else is here.
Very, very cool. Studio reinforces relationship between the two organizations, highlights their shared commitment. Skate Knopfsinger with the quotes. As our club continues to grow, so has our approach to content. Emory Healthcare Studio allows us to meet the increasing demand of digital storytelling with a world-class facility. Studio reflects our long-term commitment to innovation and positions us to produce content, brings fans even closer to our players and our club, both on and off the pitch. So, main studio supporting everything from match analysis and sit-downs to features and creative brand storytelling, multi-camera shoots, facilitating live productions of matches and other special events from the training ground, Second, dedicated studio photography, media day sessions, additional video capture, separate podcast studio on the second floor supporting audio and video recordings, fully integrated control room situated in the heart of the expansion, connecting all 3 studios, and the new press conference room, creating a streamlined production environment across the facility. So, pretty blank and sweet, if you ask me.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I mean, selfishly, like for us media, they'll have like the media space in there, which will be really cool. They have a place for interviews, and we will have access to be able to use some of those tools and all, which is just really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also needed. I think everybody that works there also is like, thank God we finally have some extra room to move around in. We're not packed in like sardines anymore, but the way that they laid it out was very intentional. So that's really cool. That the kind of design of it to keep everybody working together and not have everybody kind of separated into little divisions where nobody ever talks to each other, and then you have things fall between the cracks.
Yeah.
But the studio is super cool. It's like walking onto the set of like WSB or something. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and there's it's not 90-degree corners. It is a rounded space, so that way take out the notion of corners, and you have the video. It's seamless video looks and things like that. So it is a very, 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 very cool 21st century approach to everything that's being unveiled with more renderings and drawings and renderings and tours and things for the media types. All right, let's get into Atlanta United. I think we filibustered to the final 20 minutes. Atlanta United, DC United. DC for me looked like they didn't want to lose. They were just kind of playing to make sure that they didn't make any mistakes. And Luis Barraza didn't have more evidence placed in a file folder suing his defense for malpractice. So DC, they had a line of 5, a line of 4. If they had a line of 13, they would have gotten away with it, and they could have gotten away with it. They would have. But Atlanta United kept banging their head against that door for 90 minutes. Couple of chances, and by the end of it all, it was a point for each. And frustrating night on a bunch of different levels.
Yeah, it was not a fun soccer match to watch at all. And I know like there's been a lot of criticism in terms of the entertainment value of it, which is fair because we do watch the game ultimately at the end of the day to enjoy it. But I mean, if it's ugly soccer, cool, but get a result and like a 1 point result, a 0-0 draw on the road at the proper time is not the worst thing in the world.
Right.
A clean sheet's a great thing, but you need more than that right now. And you look at the way that this massive road trip that we have been talking about all season looked like, DC was always going to be the quote unquote easiest one to get a result in.
Yep.
Toronto, Atlanta's never gotten anything there. So even though they're maybe not doing so well in the standings, it's never been a great place for Atlanta to go play. So you really needed something more. And I think my biggest concern about the entire thing, though, is simply the fact that you had a shot on target, and the shot on target was essentially a pass to the goalkeeper. You have way too much firepower to not be putting shots on target. And it goes back to this thing that I kind of noticed. I even wrote an article about it over on the website earlier this year. Like the team, the front four, whoever they may be, seem very hesitant to just take shots from, just outside the box, from maybe some of the lower percentage areas, but the areas that you're going to test the goalkeeper. It's not like you don't have guys up there that can really, really push a goalkeeper to go do some work rather than sit back there and have a coffee and chill the entire day. You have guys that they can pick out a top corner. You have guys that we've seen Miggy do it before. Latte Lot has it in his arsenal. Saba definitely has it in his arsenal. Recently, we've seen, going back to last year, Moranchuk, that was the whole reason he was brought in, was because of that cultured left foot that he has. Like you can't be waiting for the easy, tap in, kind of work your way into the box, and then from 5 yards out you can just kind of poke it in. You need to take some shots. You need to start testing the goalkeeper. And one shot on target is simply not good enough. I don't care who you're playing, but especially against DC.
And you now have another opportunity to wrap up this road trip going to Toronto. Toronto last week in a 2.5-hour period used both of their oopsies and decided to send Insigne and Bernardeschi packing. So a team that had issues between their stars and multiple coaches is a club that is hanging out in the same part of the standings that Atlanta United is currently. And it is another opportunity for Atlanta United on the road to get some points to try to push themselves into the discussion for getting into the playoffs. But these ones that you thought you could get away with to work your way down the schedule, they are now turning into threes more often than not. And this is one of those opportunities where I think, and let me double check the juice boxes here, but it should be at least an opportunity for Atlanta United to be, if not a favorite on the road in Toronto, which is traditionally a very, very tough place to play, but close to it. Juice boxes have Toronto as a slight favorite. That has flipped since early in the week. Toronto is now favored at a plus 150. Atlanta's at a plus 162. But for a team that isn't scoring, got rid of both of their stars, has lost 4 of 6, it's another chance for Atlanta United, but that one has to turn into a 3.
Yeah, you're 12 points outside of the actual playoff spot, not the play-in spot, but the playoff spot. Everything you just said is spot on. You can't keep getting away with the rinky-dink, 1 point draws or definitely losses. If you want to be considered a good team and you want to be taken seriously, and right now Atlanta United, if we're being honest, is not a good team. They're not playing like a good team. They're playing like a bad team. What's frustrating about that, we all know, is that they have the talent there that they should be a very good team, and they're massively underperforming, as opposed to just being a team that sucks and has sucky players. That's not what's happening. You have to start packing in some wins. You have to. Like, there's no what is it, 14 games left, I think, at this point, or is it 13? Was DC the?
Hang on, 20. So 14. Atlanta's played 20.
Okay. Hey, Abby, talking about FIFA people. I saw Abby when I was picking up my credential.
Yep.
At the beginning of the Global World Cup.
I broke the machine, as a matter of fact. Just ask Abby.
Oh, well, there you go. That's okay. I want to hear that story. But no, I think you've got a summer window coming up. I think Atlanta is going to be busy.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't think anybody should fall into the trap of thinking that it's going to change the season. Now, I think you're on that line of like, it could, right? Like, if you get the right guys in and they can immediately make a difference, like, there is still time here to get something, but you'd have to go on a serious winning streak that you haven't shown you can do in the past, like, 5 years. So, this summer window is more about just getting things reset, culture reset, everything reset to get ready for 2026. And if you get something out of 2025 at this point, great. Don't give up hope, because mathematically they're still in it. But yes, the games like Toronto, even though they might be a slight favorite, Atlanta United can beat Toronto, and they should be able to beat them. And if so, cool, that's a step in the right direction. Then you come back home and you can start trying to figure it out at home. You did before this massive road trip, so now keep it up once you get back.
You mentioned transfers, and I mean, I do want to have a discussion about the younger players that continue to step up and step up and step up in these situations for Atlanta United. And there is a list that continues to get larger of the younger players that are stepping up, that have come through the academy, that are the homegrowns and such. But since you mentioned the word transfer, I've got to mention this. Did you see where it appears, possibly, probably, perhaps, maybe, Thiago Almada might be heading to Benfica on a 5-year deal, and it looks like it is a 40 million euro bid expected from Benfica for Thiago Almada from Eagle Football Group.
So when the Benfica rumor, Almada to Benfica rumor first popped up, it was really funny. I was in Portugal.
Oh,
I
you didn't tell us when you were in Portugal that this was a
literally went to Benfica Stadium that morning. I put a picture on Instagram. I went to Benfica Stadium that morning, completely oblivious to anything related to Almada or MLS in general. It felt like, because I was just so far removed with the time difference and everything else. But I went to Benfica Stadium, went to the beach, got back home that evening, and I was packing up, turned the TV on, and the TV turns on to one of the sports channels. And lo and behold, there on my TV in Portugal is Thiago Almada and Benfica. I'm like, wait a minute, where am I at? Like, I just left that stadium, and that guy, he used to play for my team across the pond. What is happening here? And then they were, so on Portuguese TV, they were all about it. Like, obviously Benfica, massive there. They have their own TV channel in Portugal. But they were thrilled about the rumor. So to see it, and it seemed like a pretty set rumor at the time. So to see it probably coming to fruition, I mean, first of all, Benfica's getting a great one. We know that, but I think for him, it'll add some stability to his career since he left Atlanta, and it'll keep him playing in, really high quality competition, which is exactly what he wanted in the first place.
And so, of course, one of the first things that I started searching when this came out, Gianluca Di Marzio et al., the first search that I put into a search engine was Eagle Football Holdings creditors. And I'm thinking, all right, so we know that according to our friends at the FIFA and their legal arm, that a club that we cover on a daily basis is owed two separate judgments, one for $3 million plus interest. I think it's $3 million plus 3% interest over a year. One of the transactions is over a year. One of them is over 9 months. So it's $3 million plus interest, and then a second judgment of $18 million plus interest. One of those, like I said, one's a 9-month interest, and then the other is a year-long interest. I'm wondering where Atlanta United is in that list. And that was why I was looking for the list of creditors currently for Eagle Football Holdings to try to figure out where in line. Serving number 7. No. Well, but no, we're serving number 7. But I would,
Get out of my way.
Yeah, literally. It's like it's like you might have like 28 because you got there, because somebody, didn't have their place in line. But I'm trying to figure out where in line for Eagle Football Holdings Atlanta United is as a part of this discussion, because I'm fairly confident that folks in this footprint saw that 40 million euro and they were like, ooh, Atlanta United finally gets paid. You're hoping that's the case, because then you can take the money that is actually owed to you and reinvest it into your product and get players and things like that. And I wonder if it's a set aside and a standalone kind of a thing where you have to kind of operate as normally as you can. And that 21 million plus interest, the 3 million plus interest, the 18 plus interest, it's just kind of off to the side. Yeah, we know it's ours. We'll get it eventually. So we're just going to operate normally. I wonder, in a front office situation like this, where dude owes you money, how you can function in a day like this when it's one of your dudes that you need the money, relatively speaking, you do need it so you can function, but dude, that's owed to us. And so literally I go Eagle Football Holdings creditors. That was the first search I did on the interwebs when all this stuff started breaking.
I think like Atlanta, thankfully, is in a position where you do have Uncle Arthur, at the end of the day, and like $21 million or whatever is not much to him, relatively speaking, which kind of makes me sick to say. But what I say all that to say, like, I don't think it would interrupt anything in terms of like they can still operate, no issues.
Yeah.
And with the knowledge that they're going to be getting that money at some point. Now, my question would be is if that interest
mm-hmm.
the longer it takes them to pay it off while it's in this proceeding or whatever, does that interest continue to build?
Oh, I would
So
imagine.
maybe you end up getting a little bit more. It might not be much more, but maybe you get a little bit of, a cherry on top of the Thiago Almada sale because Eagle Football Holdings decided to not pay.
Yeah, and so in continuing to look at the financials and doing an Eagle Football Holdings search, I saw this, and I found it interesting. And this is almost a month old, and I haven't seen anything updated to this. Eagle Football Holdings has confidentially filed for a U.S. initial public offering, according to Bloomberg. Reuters could not confirm the report. France-based company submitted a draft registration statement to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, citing a company statement. Firm has been working with UBS Group AG on the potential IPO. Eagle Football, run by U.S. businessman John Texter, and this is from our friends at Yahoo Finance, holds stakes in Lyon, Crystal Palace, and Botafogo. The SEC and Eagle Football did not immediately respond to requests for comment outside regular business hours. And this was a story that was launched in the Far East. So if I'm interpreting things correctly, so let me walk through our situation here with Eagle Football Holdings. So last year, the tax man or the dude who's in charge of funding things, the DNGC over in France, went up to John Texter, and like I said, back me up and let me see if I'm walking this right. So John Texter goes to the big glass rectangular table in the slightly larger glass-enclosed conference room, has a conversation with the tax man or the organizational structure in France about operating a franchise. They walk up to him in this room, and they're like, bruh, you kind of need to pay your bills. And the folks that are representing French football went to him and said, you got to pay your bills. He goes, well, tell you what I can do. I can take financing from Botafogo, and I can pay my bills here. The French folks were like, nah, fam, that's not how this works. And so that was my first red flag to this whole thing. It's like, so you wanted to slide money back in November to help pay your bills in Lyon, and you're still buying players and selling players and such. So that doesn't work. You're still trying to pay bills, or at least do it as best you can. You don't pay your bills. You get conditionally relegated. Then you get into the discussion about European football with Lyon and Crystal Palace. And they go, you have to divest. Okay, I'll divest. And so he's divested. And Michel Kang is probably one angry individual having to put up with what has been divested from Lyon. So Lyon is now Ligue 2. Botafogo is still Botafogo over here to the side. And John Texter decided a month ago he wanted to try and launch an IPO because he can't slide funds from one to the other to help pay his bills in France. Am I missing anything?
It's pretty spot on so far, from my understanding of it. Yeah.
And so in all
which
of
would make them one of 10 club/football groups that are publicly traded, if I'm not mistaken.
And so you wanted to do that. And like I said, I haven't seen anything else past that with Eagle Football. So literally when I go Eagle Football Holdings creditors, literally the third story was Eagle filing for the IPO back a month ago. And then they said supporting a leadership change. Back in October, they wanted to borrow $300 million to help repay Aries on a roughly $500 million debt. A lot of folks were saying that this IPO is a strategic deal to try to help things float. He was going to take Texter was going to take Eagle Football public with a $1.1 billion float. A $1.1 billion flotation to recapitalize and service debt, up to $100 million in common equity, $500 million in common equity through the issuance of common shares with the planned first quarter IPO, up to $500 million to retire existing senior debt to be achieved through the sale of interest in Crystal Palace and placement of long-term senior notes. Woody Johnson dropped $290, so that helped pay for a little bit of this. Why do we, and I say this in the collective, why do we in the collective have allow individuals to continue to do this kind of thing where they continue to borrow and borrow and borrow and borrow and borrow to run sports franchises and bricks of sports franchises and things like that, when we get charged like $38 every time we're overdrawn on our checking account?
I agree, and we should start a totally separate podcast to dive into this. I agree with you totally. I think it's horse crap. Hey man, give us Almada back, and then you'll never hear from us again.
Or 4 dudes. Give me like 4 dudes from Botafogo.
Right. Let's go. We can fix this right now.
And you get 4 dudes from Botafogo of various positions and and various ideas of experience and things like that. Give me a bulk transfer. It's like give me dudes that when one of my guys gets knocked off his pins, that I got 2 or 3 guys ready to stand up and ready to go. It's like, give me dudes who are ready for go time. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about resetting the culture and everything. Look, this is an easy way to make it happen. All right. This makes Garth's job easier. This makes fans' jobs easier.
makes Hendy's job easy.
Yeah. Get all bulk. It's going to be one present wrapped up with a nice little bow, and it's going to say Merry Christmas from Brazil / John Texter. And here it is. And then we can, look, Almada, they can do what they got to do. He can go on to Benfica, double what they paid for him. Cool. Wish you the best of luck. Meanwhile, Atlanta gets some players that have recently won championships.
Yeah, and so I'm looking at Transfermarkt, and they have. I mean, if you wanted, you could bring Jefferson Savarino back to Major League Soccer. He's got a $10 million price tag. Arthur Cabral at center forward for $10 million.
Let's go.
Arthur at 8. Cuyabano at left back for 8. Marlon Freitas at 30 years old is worth 6. Vitinho. Ooh, Vitinho at right back for $6 million. There's some dudes here. So, Alex Telles at left back at, $4 million there. So, if it's not going to be $21 million plus interest, give me players. It's like you might sit there and knock Botafogo back a peg or 2, but they've been chasing championships. Before you go, once again, Wall Pass Wednesday rears its ugly head and goes 19 different directions. I know you're shocked.
I'm here for it.
How much of a badass is Brad Gazan?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. I don't know why he continues to do this to himself. A couple of years ago in New York, plays half a game with a torn MCL or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then here he gets
no card there either.
Yeah, right. Nothing.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it gets kneed in the face by Luis Abram, not on purpose, obviously. But I was watching it and I was like, we were in our Discord, chatting and everything, and I was like, he's hurt. Like he turned like blood red for a minute. I was like, that's not normal. Like we've seen enough of Brad.
Yeah.
Like he's not that type of like bald white man that turns red when he gets angry. He just gets veiny.
Yeah.
He turned red, and I was like, man, like he might legit be hurt. But then he got up and went about his business, and I was like, dang.
Working the jaw, he's sitting there, and he's like, yeah.
And then he has to have surgery on it because it's that messed up. But he played the rest of the freaking game. It's wild. I mean, good for him. The dude will not stop.
No,
he will not stop until like the fat lady has sang. Period.
He's soccer's version of the Terminator.
100%. 100%. But good for him. I mean, if I had a passion like that and I knew that my time was getting very close to running out, I'd be holding on for dear life too. Good for him.
I mean, here's a dude who's come off of Achilles surgery, stood on his head last year, and toward the top of the league in saves in Major League Soccer, and gets friendly fired by Luis Abram, fractured cheekbone, and because of where it is, I'm wondering if does he do the Batman mask, or does he do like the Phantom of the Opera mask, where it's like just down the one side? That would be my question. Is it Phantom of the Opera or is it Batman this week?
I think the Phantom of the Opera, like the Two-Face type mask, would be infinitely more BA. I don't want to use any more words.
Why not?
But I just
it would be badass. It would.
Yeah. But like those little like the two mask thing, like the weird ones, I don't know, man. I always think they look kind of funny. If you're gonna wear a mask, like FIFA should allow it or MLS should allow it to be something cool. Those little masks, I don't feel like they do a whole lot, and they look weird. But also, how about like not play and let Jaden Hibbert get some time, and just be done with it. Let him get a taste of Toronto, see what it's about, and then fans as a whole can be exposed to the Jaden Hibbert project, and they can start having that conversation.
Yep. And by the way, tonight. Whoa! It is the Twos and FC Cincinnati up at the Fraction, 7:33 kick pregame here on the network at 7:00, and it is a busy week for the Twos, who have either 3 or 4 matches in hand, depending on who you're talking about here. So it's Wednesday, Sunday for the Twos, and it's in Kennesaw. We get Kennesaw
finally
back at the Fraction tonight, 7:00 pregame. And it is FC Cincinnati 2 on Wednesday. It's Atlanta United in Toronto and the Unified team in Toronto on Saturday. And it is Columbus Crew 2 and the Twos at the Fraction Sunday night at 7:30. So as always, my friend, thanks for coming by in hour number 1 and going wherever the fire hose takes us when it comes to anything and everything going on here in the world of soccer, Atlanta United, East, and everything like that. So hit your promo. What are the plans?
Show tonight at 7. Probably at this point, don't have a guest. Everybody's trying to get back in the swing of things still. So, but if we do, we'll post it on social media. We'll let everybody know.
Right on.
But yeah, we'll be chatting Atlanta, Toronto mostly.
Yep. All right. And so that's tonight on SNS with Tyler and the Band of Renown. As always, my friend. So are we going to see, when do we next see you? Week from tomorrow at the Benz? In person.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I mean, other than being here on the show and everything and casual situations, the next time we will be seeing you in a game state, unless you charge up to Kennesaw, will be going up against Chicago and 3GB. Okay, just checking. All right. So enjoy the show tonight. Have a good show, and we'll catch up with you soon, my friend. Thanks for coming.
Right. See ya.
There goes Tyler, and that's it for hour number 1. So it is time. Hey, well, I mean, that's the thing. It's Abby's like, there's a show during the Twos match. Well, I mean, what you could do is, if you took your favorite device with you, then you could be watching the Twos in person, listening to us call the match, and you might have SNS on a spare media device. Just saying. So that's up. Yeah, a week. Yeah, a week. Yeah, that's right. A week from today. My days are messed up. Sorry, Abby. My days are completely and totally messed up. Week from today, Chicago. So Tyler will be on with us again, previewing Chicago, reviewing Toronto, and getting ready for the matchup against 3GB. We'll talk about Open Cup here in a bit. We've got Club World Cup to talk about, Euros to give you juice boxes for, Open Cup with what happened last night, and the kookiness that happened there. And we kind of alluded to it a little bit with Tyler. But, yeah, right now, the way things stand, Thiago Almada and Benfica, 40 million euro on the table is what is being reported by multiple places. And we will see what is going on here. And, oh, look at this. Hour number 2, we get a visit from our resident videographer extraordinaire, Nick Alifi. How are you, sir?
Greetings.
Wow. What do we owe this, sir?
I don't know. I had some time this morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what sir, is on your mind, since it is a Walpassian Wednesday? What is on your mind?
The big thing here is anyone actually going to upgrade to a full version of DAZN after the Club World Cup?
Nope.
Anybody in the pitch over there? Because I think I'm of two minds about this. One, I think it's awesome that DAZN made it
absolutely
free.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's great. And I think FIFA needed it, to be honest.
No doubt.
but I have zero plans nor zero inclination to subscribe to the full-on DAZN package.
Right. No, I don't. No, I have zero. Let me phrase it this way. I looked at their rates, and I'm like, there's too much of the combat sports for me.
Mm-hmm.
I have zero interest in that.
Right.
If they did like a soccer package where you gave me whatever it is that you guys are doing for soccer on DAZN, there's like a lot of obscure lower division stuff that they've got, which I think would be really cool, but I'm not going to break the bank over it.
Right.
So for me, it is like a hard no. It's like, I love that you guys did it because you gave folks like Jess in Europe at DAZN UK a fantastic opportunity to call play-by-play. We got to see Dunny and a lot of our friends and Kevin Egan and all of that be a part of it. But I'm not investing the ungodly amount of money that they're looking for a yearly rate for DAZN.com.
Right.
Not happening.
No, the combat. Here's the thing: if you have like Pluto or like Roku channel, you can get all the combat sports stuff you want, right? At no charge. It's fine. It's hard for me to justify in the world of subscribe to everything. You own nothing now because it's all subscription. You're renting everything essentially. To sit there and be like, okay, sure. Like the one I think outside of let's see, from a strictly sports perspective.
Yeah.
If you're a soccer nerd, Fanatics is still to me the best value going.
And I just got an upgrade on my DiMayor package, as a matter of fact. So, and they did that on their own.
Ooh. Can you please explain this in greater detail, John?
I don't know because I don't know. Maybe it was because they lost RCN. They decided to yesterday. Literally, they upgraded the package that I'm currently on. So let me see if I can. Let me see. What was the email that they sent me yesterday? It was like literally news about your subscription. Enjoy all the Colombian soccer. You get to the entire BetPlay DiMayor tournament, BetPlay DiMayor Cup, Colombian Women's Professional League. So literally they upgraded the Colombian experience for me as someone who is a Fanatics person.
Yes.
RCN out the door. They upgraded everything from Colombian soccer as a part of it. So there you go.
See, I'll take that. Like to me, it's like when Fanatics dropped the Italian channels.
Yes.
I was greatly hurt, but they immediately came in and said, "Hey, we're adjusting your price accordingly." Like we're not going to keep the price the same because we're removing a channel. Your price is going to go lower as a result. Okay, great, no problem for this. But yeah, it's just one of those things that I often wonder in the world of media how some of these stunts work. Where somebody says, "Oh, you're going to get it for free for X period of time," and it's like the old, it's the old drug dealer mentality, which is the first time's free, and after that,
give you a little taste.
Get you hooked on the product, So that was what was on my mind this morning. How many people will stick with it? And it seems like from our sample size here, that the answer is a fat no.
Yes, a fat no. By the way, going back to hour number one and a previous story that we were spending the tail end of hour number one on, from our buddy Ben Jacobs, Lyon have won their DNCG appeal against relegation and will remain in Ligue 1 and in the Europa League.
Wow.
Quote, Olympique Lyonnais welcomes the decision made today by the DNCG to keep the club in Ligue 1. OL thanks the appeals committee for recognizing the ambition of the new management of the club, determined to ensure serious management in the future. Determined to ensure serious management in the future, intimating that John Textor might not have been serious management. The new management, supported by the commitment and dedication of our shareholders and lenders, is extremely grateful for all the support received both inside and outside the club, especially from its supporters, collaborators, players, partners, and elected officials. Today's decision is the first step to restore confidence in Olympique Lyonnais. We can now fully focus our attention on sporting objectives, fully preparing for next season, end quote. So, of course, Olympique Lyon gets to stick.
Okay, so in one of my favorite movies, The Dark Knight Rises, when Bane is being summoned by the bad version of Bruce Wayne, essentially, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, "Where's Bane? Where's Bane?" Ben Mendelsohn like kills the role, and then Bane shows up. He's like, "Speak of the devil, and he shall appear." And then, they have this little back and forth, and then Bane tells the bad Bruce Wayne's lackey to leave, and the guy goes to walk away, and Ben Mendelsohn goes, "No, I'm in charge here." And then Bane just puts his hand on the guy's shoulder, and he's like, "Do you feel in charge?" That's essentially what Michelle Kang did here to League On. Where essentially it's like John Texter, he could be whatever he wants to be, but Michelle Kang just put her hand on dude's shoulder, was like, "Do you feel in charge?"
Yeah, you sell it to Woody Johnson at Crystal Palace, and from Ben Jacobs. Leon are not out of the woods yet. The DNCG Appeal Committee has handed Leon a wage bill and transfer budget restrictions. Leon have confirmed the DNCG's decision in the press release that reads as follows. Olympique Lyonnais welcomes today's decision to keep the club thanks to the appeals. Okay, so basically you're like, okay, you're cool for now, but
Yeah.
you've got a wage bill and transfer budget restrictions.
Well, that's good. To me, it seems like Michelle Kang walked in and had all of her ducks in a row, which is completely shocking to not one single woman out there.
No.
Because you had the completely disorganized guy who walks in on bravado and machismo and says, "I've got this lined up."
And he comes into the glass enclosed conference room. He's wearing the blazer.
Yeah.
He's got the dress shirt that's kind of half untucked below the blazer. He's wearing the loafers and the dark khaki pants.
Mhm.
And he's got, "I got this."
Yeah, he's got the swagger of like the Dollar Tree version of Ric Flair, and it comes in and has, "I've got plans to get us out of here, ideas." And then Michelle Kang's like, "Here's the paperwork with like a multi-point detailed process of how we're going to get this done." And so it looks like League On was like, "Okay, all right, here's someone with some common sense. We don't have to nuke the team. We don't have to bring the black eye on League On. League On still got some bruising that it's got to deal with, but it's a better place to be." And yes, Ropes, no one at all has the swagger, more swagger than a mediocre white man. That is 112% factually accurate. Michelle Kang walked in and clearly said, "Okay, this is a legitimate operation now." And so you should, though, have guardrails in place.
Oh, yeah.
And it appears to be what's happening here. So maybe it's a path forward for some of these unserious teams.
Oh boy. Well, and speaking of unserious, our buddy Tommy Scoops, Reggie Cannon and QPR have won their appeal against Boa Vista. The Court of Arbitration for Sport has ruled. Boa Vista now owe Cannon money. Cannon left Boa Vista for QPR on a free over unpaid and or late wages. CAS's decision vindicates a departure in the QPR conduct. That comes from Tommy Scoops as of yesterday, by the way.
Ooh.
This is me holding my breath on Boa Vista actually paying a bill.
Yeah, if I was Reggie, I would essentially just send Boa Vista a message and just say, "Look, we both know you're not sending that money."
Yeah.
Like, we both know. Okay. So instead, I will accept the following, and then have the most absurd list of demands. I demand 14 crates of mangoes, 6 goats, a pallet of chickens. I would like a reserved box in your stadium for life.
Mm-hmm.
And
19 cases of grape knee high.
Just give me like, I mean, I don't know, get really stupid with it.
Yeah.
Like I want a container ship full of hamsters. And just see how ignorant you can get this. How stupid can we take it? I want maximum stupidity on these demands. That's what Reggie Cannon needs to do.
Yeah, well, and considering that Boa Vista's their financial state last year, and we have these conversations with our buddy Nino Torres on Thursdays. They were fighting relegation last year. I know you're shocked in Portugal. So considering all of the financial problems they had, their solution was to buy more guys.
Yeah. So, for anyone under the age of 35, there was a legendary country singer named Kenny Rogers.
Yes.
Whose superior song, in my opinion, and a great lesson for life is a song called The Gambler.
Yes.
Right? And one of the great lyrics in that is every hand's a winner and every hand's a loser.
Correct.
Right? The best you can hope for is to die in your sleep. So what happened here is Boa Vista had they had their hand. They had like a 2, a 6.
They had ish basically.
Yeah, you had nothing.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? Hey guys, double down. Double down. Yeah. And the experts are looking at them like, buddy, are you sure you want to do that? That's kind of like a really double down. Like as they do like their third line of yayo off the table. Yeah, double down. Let's go. Okay, all right. Boa Vista doubling down.
Yeah, they did.
And nothing.
I mean, they barely stayed up because teams were worse.
But I mean, look, sometimes there are elements, and this is a lesson for life. There are elements within your control.
Yes.
There are elements outside of your control. Control the controllables.
There you go.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you're an individual and you have some big thing coming up, control your controllables, right? I should prepare individually to fulfill my obligation for whatever it is that's coming up. If it's a fitness test, I should, I don't know.
Be fit.
That's within my control.
Just saying.
Doubling down on quarter pounders is probably not going to get you to your fitness goals.
Damn.
One of those things. If you are on the verge of being broke, I don't know, maybe focus on the basics: food, water, shelter.
Now bring
some power in the house, maybe. I don't know.
I'll bring in more.
Going out and getting slaughtered at the bar and running up a huge bar tab, probably not the best financial decision. But Boa Vista said, nah, keep buying, baby. Yeah. Again, the confidence. We're going to figure it out. It's all going to work out. Nah, sometimes it doesn't work out.
No, sometimes it does not.
Nah.
Yeah, and looking at their roster currently and their market value, they have a squad size of 26. They have 3 national team players, and the total market value of the Boa Vista roster at present, 10.5 million euro. That is the market value of the 26 dudes that they currently have at Boa Vista.
3 national team players, their current value is only 10?
Yeah.
With 3 national team players?
Yeah.
What the hell is the rest of the roster?
It's Bojenik in Slovakia, who is the only player rated 7 figures or more. Osman Kakai at right back for Sierra Leone, and Augusto Dabo, who has 1 appearance for Guinea-Bissau. That's Boa Vista's 3 national team dudes.
Okay. All right.
It literally is the most expensive dude on the roster and 2 other dudes.
Oh, man. All right.
Yep. Let's see. Quick reminder, Juan Hernandez is going to join us in about 10 minutes, head coach for Chattanooga FC's women, as they get ready for the Final Four in the South. The group is 16 in the WPSL playoffs. So he'll be joining us in about 10 minutes to break down everything there. Let's see. I was trying to look at Open Cup last night, and if you're a follower of Open Cup hero Brandon Vasquez, he had an injury last night, and we don't know the extent of it. It did not look good when he hit the ground in the matchup against San Jose. When we get an update on that, we'll give you the update on that. But Minnesota and Chicago last night, it was an adventure. You had another handball situation. You had a VAR overrule on a hand. Now, all right. So I need to ask you, Nick. I need to ask you this.
Okay.
When it comes to VAR,
Sure.
and you are looking at a play in particular, does it not lend itself? And this is probably a loaded question. To when you're looking at something in VAR and you Zapruder the incident in question, would that not kind of lend itself to you looking for something as opposed to actually letting something play out in real time?
Okay, first of all, for anyone under the age of a certain under a certain age, the Zapruder is that was the film taken in the Kennedy assassination, right?
Yes.
So for anybody out there, like the John F. Kennedy assassination, the Zapruder film is the one where everybody goes, there was a second gunman clearly on the grassy knoll because the body moves and,
Right. Yes.
And in the movie, back into the left.
Yes.
Back into the, so yeah.
Yes.
Look, VAR, and I'm going to dance around your question here a little bit.
Sure.
The issue with VAR is this. I think VAR in a nutshell is a good thing.
Yeah.
If anybody says, "Oh no, it's not it," look, go back to World Cup 2002.
So basically, you're talking to most of Europe, but go ahead.
Yeah, go back to World Cup 2002, and go back to that Italy Korea game, and watch the buffoonery that plays out there. And then, if you go to World Cup 2006, when there was a clear dive in the box that got France their first goal.
France.
Look, VAR is necessary in today's game. It's too fast. It's too fast. You got people who are way too clever. So you got to have that replay. Implementation has been the Achilles heel of VAR. When do we use it? What are we looking for? And then the magic words, clear and obvious. To me, obvious is if a defender is lunging for a ball and a player launches in the air and, the foot does not make contact, the leg does not make contact, the player just magically defies the laws of gravity and takes flight. Wouldn't you want your team to, be cleared in that so the defender doesn't get a red card?
Yeah.
That a penalty's not issued? That to me, like, if I have to keep going back over and over and over and over and over again, there's nothing here. Keep it moving. But if it's clear and obvious, then you got to call it. And it is what it is. I will not go back to the hand of God because the hand of God is the ultimate WWE moment in professional sports.
Yeah.
It is the ultimate it is professional wrestling on a soccer pitch. So if you are an England supporter,
there you go.
I will selectively omit the hand of God.
Okay.
Selectively, as is my prerogative. And as an England supporter, if you're sporting St. George's Cross, you can yell to the high heavens about the hand of God. And you may have a case in some forums. You may have a case. However, I am very clear and obvious in my my biases, and therefore I will not include the hand of God in this.
Okay. And then you have ropes bringing in the Thierry Henry handball.
100%. Yes. 100%. The Thierry handball should have been VAR'd into oblivion.
Luis Suarez.
Yes. 100% and 55%. But did Suarez mean to do it? Of course Suarez meant to do it. I mean,
Oh no, of course not. No.
you know, I mean, come on. Yeah. The Thierry handball versus Ireland. Yeah, that 100% should have been VAR'd into oblivion.
Oh no. We can't have that.
No.
We got a couple of matches tonight in Major League Soccer, and joining us in mere moments, Juan Hernandez, the head coach of Chattanooga FC on the women's side. So let me go through the two matches, and thank you for coming in on a midweek, by the way. It's always fun to have you come and visit.
Oh, thank you.
Revs hosting Messi and Friends. The Revs are favored at a plus 154, draws a plus 284. And Messi and Friends are a plus 147.
Messi and Friends have a lot of there's things happening there down in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, the greater Fort Lauderdale area.
Yes.
So the one thing that does not change with the greater Fort Lauderdale team is age, right? It's like a classic muscle car
and/or DPs, Rodrigo de Paul.
Well, yeah, look, they've got a lot of quality there that can only seem to operate at certain times of the year.
Yep.
Because of the age. It's just reality. So you can have all the designated players you want, but really, what are you getting outside of some fantastic highlights? You're getting fantastic highlights regular season, and then when it comes tournament time, you're getting exposed at certain points. So I would like to see if they want to do something really stupid. They should have gone and brought in, if you're going to bring in names, elderly names, you should have gone and pulled Sergio Ramos. If you're going to do it right, because you need help on defense.
Oh boy, do you ever.
So instead of, hey, look, let's have the greatest attacking show on the northern part of the continent. Great, have fun, go for it. But really, you need some significant help on defense. Yeah. Sergio Ramos would have helped with that. I would have gone in a different direction. But hey, whatever.
Yes. And then your late night game to make up for some folks that have had some stuff to do in other tournaments. LAFC big favorite at home at 10.25, hosting Colorado Rapids at a minus 244. Rapids are basically a plus 600.
Giorgio Chiellini, now part of the ownership group.
Saw that.
At LAFC.
Saw that.
All right.
Yes. So there it is. As always, my friend, great to see you. Don't be a stranger. And Crash, since you've got the garage door opener, you can come in at any time. Don't be a stranger, please.
All right, man. I'm out. Later.
There goes Nick. And so what that means is we do the hot tag. And it is time to talk playoffs, talk postseason, talk travel, talk choice D, all the above. And for this, we go to Chattanooga, catch up with Juan Hernandez, the head coach of the CFC women. How does it feel to be in the sprint in the postseason, Coach?
It feels really good. It is a fantastic feeling, and we're ready for it.
So for those that haven't had the chance to follow what's been going on with you in the WPSL this year, how crazy and how tough is that Southeast Division for folks that have not had the chance to keep an eye on what's going on this year?
It is one of the strongest divisions, that's for sure. I believe most of the teams are at the top rankings in the South, and even some of them in the national rankings. So for us, facing that type of competition throughout the whole season has been really positive, and it definitely has prepared us for this moment.
What has there been anything about this group that has surprised you when it comes to assembly and success, or was this kind of what you were looking for, the growth curve and the integration to get you ready for the playoffs? Has there been any kind of a pleasant surprise this year, or was this kind of the expected and the expected idea?
Well, both. I would say it's both. There is expectations that we were building a team to be like that, but there's obviously also the part of the surprise of it. It's a lot of the recruiting is done remotely, with trusting people, with knowing people that knows people. So there is always that surprise element of like, all right, everything that we believed we were building, it's happening, and it's always a good feeling to know that things are working the right way.
When you were named head coach back in November, obviously it was a cool moment for folks in the Chattanooga FC. atmosphere and environment. What have you learned about yourself as a head coach since November there at CFC?
That it's really important to continue to work with people. That as an athlete, as a player, I was a midfielder, so I always learn to obviously do my best and work hard and provide and be the one that makes sometimes the decisions and the moments. And as a coach, it's the same thing. It's sometimes that's my role, but sometimes I also gotta be ready to trust in people and allow people to do their job, because we're a team of a lot of good people on this environment, and we need to make sure we continue to work together.
All right, let me have you brag on your staff a little bit. We've had Marin on, our associate head coach Marin Butler. She was on. Majo Hadispuru, Ashley Renko, keeper coach Katie Wright, JD Myers, Eric Miller. What has it been like to work with that group to get the successes that you've had this season?
It's incredibly good. I mean, not just because of the number, but because of the quality of the staff. Everybody gives something different. Everybody has a different background. Everybody has a different perspective, and all of us have our unique moments and ideas, but all of us share the same context and the same belief on how things should be done, how the game should be played, what do we expect from our athletes. So when you put all the little pieces together that everybody's able to add, I mean, the recipe is that's the recipe of success, and we're seeing that.
All right. So what have you learned from them, and what do you hope that they might have learned from you, whether it's personality or approach or day to day? What have you learned from your assistants that have helped you grow as a coach?
That's a lot. That is a lot. It's every day.
We got time. We got time, Juan. It's all
Okay.
good.
There's everyday things. Marine brings a level of detail that's really good. Sebastian, which is also involved, brings that level of competition and passion that's really good. Majo brings a level of playing and playing it at a high level at the youth national teams in Mexico. That also is a different perspective. Ashley brings a little bit more of the caring side. Eric brings a high level of expertise of the performance side, and obviously the goalkeepers are doing a really good job with our three excellent goalkeepers that we're having, and like you can see, we haven't received many goals, so that's a whole teamwork right there.
No doubt. I mean, when you have coaches that are a part of the staff that know what the academy means to CFC, and they can bring that expertise, so it's like the knowledge of the everything on the ground floor. They know what it means. They know what Chattanooga means. They know what the academy means to this whole process. Obviously, having something like that and getting that kind of feedback also helps out too, I would imagine.
Of course it does, because we want to, there is two aspects to that. One is the developmental side of the coaches, and the coaches need to also see what the first team looks like so they can bring that into the academy. Having Majo, having Ashley that work directly with the girls side of our program, it's really important. And then that's just create that full pathway that we always continuously to look, because we want to make sure that our academy girls can represent our first team to the highest ability. And this year we've seen that with certain players. So that's always the continuous goal, is to grow from the top to bottom, and make sure the bottom continues to feel that top, so we're always a full pathway.
Well, and to see a player come through the academy, come through from a very young age, and be a part of something there on the CFC women's side. I mean, when you look at those players, do you remember their first days when they were there learning about the CFC way and seeing them grow? Do you have that recall of those younger players that have worked their way through CFC and have gotten to that particular point with you there with the women?
Yes, definitely. There's two really big examples that unfortunately this year they were injured and they couldn't be part of the women's team. But last year, Addie Chapman and Brooke Bolton, there are two athletes that have been with the academy for years. I have seen them 5, 6 years ago. I was coaching them, and last year they have a really good performance with with the first team. And this year they will have also, unfortunately, they were injured. But this year we also have other athletes like Hannah.
Oh, I think somebody called him. I think somebody called him in the middle of the. He's bragging on his CFC Academy players. And of course, the second he starts bragging, somebody tried to call him. And so we'll hang on here and see if the situation improves. And if it doesn't, then what we'll do is we will send Coach Hernandez to the bullpen because I think somebody tried to call. And so let me do the magic thing here and have him dial back in. But just to let you know, once again, we'll go back over the playoffs here. There we go. All right, now we'll see what happened. So I'm guessing somebody tried to call you.
I got my phone disconnected, so I don't know. It just said poor connection.
Oh, well. All right. Well, you were bragging on your players that were working their way up through the academy to be a part of CFC Women.
Yes, yes. So I'm not sure what was the last thing that was heard, but like I was mentioning players like Brooke Bolton and Addie Chapman that were able to be part of last year's team. Unfortunately, this year they were injured, so they could not be part of it. But those are athletes that have been with us for several years, that I coached them 5 or 6 years ago. And that is what it means. That is what it means to be part of that pathway from CFC. And this year we have athletes like Hannah Hems, Chloe Reeves. Chloe Reeves gets a really important assist versus Georgia Impact on an away game to tie that game and to secure this position that we are in right now. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of what we're trying to achieve.
6-1-1 in the regular season. You only gave up 5 goals. You scored 18, so you were at a plus 13 in goal difference. What did you learn about yourself in the loss? Because I know you can sit there and you can look at all the wins and sit there and go, yeah, okay, well, we learned this, and this. We learned that this is the right way. This is correct. This is correct. What'd you learn about yourself in the loss that you got to apply going forward to help you out with this run?
Yeah, really important. That as a leader, is my responsibility that the team comes into the game ready. And that loss was a game that we lost in the first 7 minutes. So that was it. That after that, the team played really good. We applied everything that we've been working on, but it is my responsibility as a leader that the athletes understand the importance of every moment, the importance of start the game right. And looking and reflecting back, I'm thinking, okay, what can I do better to make sure the team is always ready since the beginning until the end?
So you're in the Final Four in the South. You've made it up to this point where, and I had to literally look at the calendar. I'm like, what is the 12th? All the days run together, kind of like it is with you. You've got Arlington Soccer Blue coming up in the South. You've got to travel to Washington, D.C. for the matchup on Saturday. If you win, you play on Sunday again. What do you know about Arlington? What do you know about them? What has study hall been like? Or is it a gradual process learning about them in a week like this?
Both. It is a gradual process. We're obviously evaluating video. We're watching several of their games, and we are designing our sessions day by day to maximize our assets and to create superiorities that we believe are gonna win us the game, and also make sure that we counter whatever they have for us. So there is a lot of video analysis that we're doing and preparing for that game.
So then, for the Chattanooga FC fans, obviously they say, well, when you win on the early game on Saturday afternoon, you've got to do a quick turn and be ready on Sunday night to take on the winner of McLean and Crew. Do you and the staff study the other teams in the bracket to be ready for that quick turn and just to have some basic information? Or is it just kind of like, yeah, we'll focus on ourselves and we'll figure it out in the first 15 minutes?
We always focus on ourselves and to do the best that we can. That's our goal. Like, we want to be the dominant team. We want to be the one that other teams have to adjust to. Obviously, with that such quick turnaround, thankfully Arlington and McLean have played against each other, so some of the videos we're able to evaluate both. But we will have to just watch that game after hours and analyze the game there, and it will be a really quick turnaround for the athletes. But we are a team that adapts really well, and that has been one of our strengths. So I continue to believe that that will be the case on those moments.
Juan Hernandez, head coach of CFC Women, getting ready for the Final Four in the South Region WPSL playoffs. Everybody's trying to head to Stillwater in about 11 days' time as the two of us are talking right here. For someone who hasn't seen you play, How would you characterize what CFC does when you want to be on the front foot, when you want to be in charge of a match? For someone walking in the door the first time, they might have heard about you at Fort Finley. They might be trekking to DC to see what's going on in the Final Four. How would you describe what CFC does when you are successful out there offensively and defensively?
We want to be a dominant team. Our primary objective is to take care of the ball and to do it in a vertical way. We want to be aggressive going forward. We want to create chances. We want to score goals, and we want to be, with all of that, we want to be solid. We want to be solid defensively, and we want to give at least the least opportunities possible. So it is an aggressive, fun, attacking-minded, possession-minded type of game that it's not only enjoyable for the athletes, which is the primary part, but also for the spectators. And that's what we aim to do every time we're on the field.
And when you're in a matchup like this and in a situation like this, obviously Chattanooga and Chattanooga FC, the pedigree is there. What has it been like for you to see the sport grow, to see what it means there in Chattanooga across the board, and what has it been like to see CFC grow on all these different fronts to where it is now as a part of the landscape in the Southeast?
It's been incredible. The reality is Chattanooga has been always a championship team. My first season, 2015, with the team, we won the conference, we won the region, we went to a national final. So that was my first introduction in Chattanooga FC as a player. And thankfully, hopefully I can replicate the same thing as a coach, win the conference, win the region, and get ourselves to a national final and win it. So that's the identity of Chattanooga FC is a championship team, and we try to emulate that in practice. We try to do that every time we step on the field.
When are you leaving?
To Washington?
Yeah.
On Friday.
Okay, so I didn't know how much time you gave yourselves. You like leave an early morning to make sure that it's not a rush drive? Do you step out, stretch your legs, get a couple of meals? What about the logistics of something like this? How much logistics goes into making sure that a bunch of folks make it to Washington, D.C.?
Well, we want to be a professional club. And for that, we want to act, and we do act and behave as a professional club. So we will be leaving sometime in the morning. We're flying. We want to make sure we get the best opportunity to these athletes to perform on the field. So we'll be flying. We'll get there at a decent time. Then we'll do a nice training session in the evening, and then we'll prepare for the game. We want to be as professional as possible, and we believe every detail matters.
So it's going to be on the Juan Hernandez private jet. You taking the big old 747 that Juan Hernandez Airways?
Maybe for the national championships, we do that.
Be safe, my friend. It's always great to see you and great to see how things continue to grow up there at CFC as you're chasing after WPSL title. Final Four, Saturday and Sunday, taking on Arlington Soccer Blue, and you advance there on Sunday night. It would be a quick turn to take on the winner of McLean and Louisiana Crew. As always, great to see you. Good luck this weekend. Safe travels. We'll be watching down here in the rest of the Southeast. Have a great tournament, and good luck in the Final Four.
Thank you, John. It's always a pleasure.
That's Juan Hernandez, the head coach at Chattanooga FC's women. And the women's side in the Final Four, once again, South Region, WPSL, they're flying. They're flying from Chattanooga up to D.C., and it's Chattanooga and Arlington Soccer Blue. They are the early games Saturday night, South Region, 5 o'clock kick, WPSL playoffs. Low right in your bracket as you follow along. McLean Soccer, Louisiana Crew after Chattanooga FC and Arlington Soccer Blue, for those of you that are heading up to D.C. to watch what's going on in the South Region. Winners turn around, and it is 6 o'clock Eastern time Sunday. 6 o'clock Eastern time on Sunday. The winners and the semis get ready to figure out who's going to make their way to Stillwater, Oklahoma for matchups on the 18th and the 20th. Once again, South plays West, Central plays East, right-hand side of the bracket in the West. SoCal Union, Spokane SC Shadow, Cal Storm, and El Paso Surf, winner of those. They play at 4 o'clock Pacific time on Sunday. So halftime, beginning of the second half of the South Region final is when the West Region final happens on Sunday. Left-hand side of the bracket, Central and East. It is St. Croix Legacy, Union KC, Oklahoma City FC, Austin Rise. Then the winners of those play at 8 o'clock on Sunday night in the Central Region final, upper left in your bracket. Then East Region, Niagara 1812, Sporting CT. I can't quite call them Sporting Connecticut. Sporting CT, Brooklyn City FC, and PA Classics. I imagine that's Pennsylvania Classics and not Production Assistant Classics. So Niagara 1812, Sporting CT, Brooklyn City, and PA Classics. Winner of that one is the early kick. So it is an afternoon kick, Saturday afternoon, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the East. Winners play Sunday afternoon at 1 in Niagara Falls, New York. So you'll know the Eastern Region final winner before the other three kick off at 6, at 7, and at 8 on Sunday. And so you can go to the WPSL website, WPSLsoccer.com, National Soccer Network. They should all be on YouTube. Follow along there as well. So don't forget, once again, WPSL Soccer, National Soccer Network, YouTube. Follow along, watch there. Chattanooga FC chasing after the South Region Championship. Arlington Soccer Blue, the first step in that South Region. Saturday night, Saturday afternoon, 5 o'clock Eastern time. And they will be, they win, they face the winner of McLean Soccer and Louisiana Crew Sunday at 6. So there you go. Time to say hi to everybody and let everybody in on what else is going on and let you know what else is going on in the world of SDH. Morning, Michael. Morning, Sharif. Glad you're back. Morning, Four Card. Michael on PSG and Bayern, highest quality match ever played at MBS, in his opinion. Yes, and fireworks. Really, really dumb, potentially not safe. Fireworks inside. Yeah, fireworks inside. Great idea. And then we mentioned the 3252. Four Card after the announcement of the new studio space up there at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Training Ground, Emory Healthcare Studios. Very, very cool. Part of the $23 million advancement and upgrade to the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Training Ground, the added facility that's there. 3 studios, 1 for pod, 2 for video and other things. And so it'll be state of the art. Really looking forward to it. The announcement came out this morning. Skate Knopfsinger was front and center for that announcement that came out this morning for Atlanta United. Four Card winking about the idea of it being a new SDH headquarters. Pars, does the team score more if Thiago's still here? I would imagine so. But it depends on, once again, the pieces that you bring in around it. But I would imagine so with Thiago as a playmaker. So we will find out. Ropes, and so many times he was shouting shoot in the matchup against DC. Michael, once again, the opponent doesn't matter. Who thinks will win Saturday? Seriously. I mean, Toronto's not a good team. They're not. They're not a good team. But I will say that Toronto traditionally is a very tough place to play for Atlanta United. And it is an opportunity for Atlanta United to get full points. I think that Toronto can be had. Because once again, Insigne, Bernadeschi, the offense that they gave you, you don't got anymore. You did the double oop scene, you pulled them out. So the offense you had, you don't have. So we'll see. Let's see. Morning Four Card, morning Abby. No, true. Abby, technology, and John, the two do not go together. Absolutely true. Let's see. Abby, Michael. Well, and Michael, to your point, this was about the Botafogo discussion. Can't FIFA make them pay or else not make sales or buys? Yes, I think you can impose transfer bans and things like that if you're not paying your bills. So that would be the next step in this. I mean, obviously, it doesn't do Atlanta United any good if Botafogo is not paying them the $33 million plus interest and the $18 million plus interest. It doesn't do Atlanta United any good because Atlanta United would want some kind of repercussion and remuneration. Fancy words for saying punishment and money. I mean, they're owed the money. But yes, of course, the DNCG basically was like, yeah, Leon, yeah, you're okay. But the statement from the DNCG, the overseers of French football, let me see, DNCG France. All right, so the DNCG, the Direction Nationale de Contrôle de Gestion. Basically, it is what they are, the DNCG, National Director of Management Control. Organization responsible for monitoring and overseeing the accounts of professional association football clubs in France. So basically, it's like the accounting arm of French football. It's not quite the tax man. It's like the budget man. So it's the budget man for French football, the DNCG. Founded in 1984. And it is a public mission of service, overseeing all financial operations of the 44-member clubs, develop the resources, and apply sanctions to those clubs breaking the rules of operation to defend the morals and interests of French football in general. At the end of each football season, the DNCG, and this is from our friends at the Wikipedias, reviews the accounts of all the teams in the top 5 divisions. Clubs found to be in breach of rules can have a number of punishments enforced upon them, including transfer embargoes or limiting the number of first-team players. This is where we currently are with Lyon. More serious sanctions include demotion or even complete expulsion. DNCG also has the power to change the number of teams and competitions depending on circumstances. So basically, they're the budget arm for French football. They're like the corporate money overseers. Not quite the tax man. So they're the corporate money. They're like the money guys. So we'll see. Yeah, and to Michael's point, otherwise, why not just buy players and not ever pay? Well, because sooner or later, you would hope that rules and regs would follow up and that the club would have to be forced to be sold. We see this a lot in English football, sadly, where I think what happens is that you want to have the clubs around, and I'm trying to figure out how to best describe this. Think about all the clubs that we talk about in England. Wigan, Sheffield Wednesday, Reading. Sorry, Jess, until just recently. All of the clubs that are having financial problems that get dinged for points deductions and things like that. I think what you see is a controlling arm of that particular country's football. They don't want to have the community lose a franchise because of the history that has been created, if that makes any sense. You don't want the history lost. I mean, it came to what it was, Bury and Macclesfield. It got so bad that English football's the EFL was just kind of like, nah, you got to go. And I think that in France, specifically since Lyon is to the point, like I said, they're a big dog. They've been a big dog, Olympique Lyonnais, national status, international status, all those kinds of things. I think the DNCG in French football and the LPF, they don't want to lose Lyon as an entity. And I think that with Michel Kang there in charge, to Nick's point at the beginning of hour number 2, it was kind of like, well, let me take care of this. And I'm hoping that that's where Lyon is right now. That John Textor is basically like, go focus on your other things. Obviously, the sales got to go through with Eagle Football Holdings and Woody Johnson, so that would give him close to $300 million. And then he wanted to chase after, he meaning Textor, Sheffield Wednesday or Watford. Because we know about Sheffield Wednesday not making their bills, not paying players. So that's where Textor is right now after having sold his interest in Crystal Palace and now part of, and with what's left of Eagle Football, I understand now why they went after the IPO. Because of the amount of money that they have that they need to take care of in a debt. And I think that it's just one of those where whether you're the LPF or the EFL, you don't want to lose that franchise because of the history, because of where it is in the footprint, because of all those things. And like I said, it's a name that's too big it's a name too big to fail, basically, where Lyon is concerned. And Emilio, to your question, I don't think that, and this was a point that we made when Tyler was with us in hour number 1, I don't think it's going to be a deterrent for spending. It's going to piss Uncle Arthur off that folks aren't living up to their end of the deal. And I think that when you have, I don't think this will be a deterrent for Atlanta United not to spend. If that's a double negative, I apologize. I don't think it's a deterrent. Atlanta United is going to continue to spend and spend and spend. That's just they're going to continue to invest. They're not going to stop investing in players. They're not going to do that. That's never been their way. You have the build from within with the younger players, and you have the bringing in of the talent at the front. You're always going to have the build from within. You're always going to have the purchases from the outside. That's just always the way it is. I think that I think that the front office is pissed beyond belief at both the Fogo and Eagle Football Holdings. I would be too. Somebody owes you a lot of money and they continue to spend on other things. I mean, think of it this way. If there is an element, I mean, think about it this way, is if there's someone in your life that you gave a lot of money to help them fix their financial problems, like if they had a big credit card debt, if they had a big this, they had a big that, and you helped them to bail them out, and then they went and bought a motorcycle, or if they went and bought, a necklace, or if they went and bought, a new car, or if they, did something that didn't wash with the idea, and that's not the right verb, but if it didn't gel with the reason that you gave them the money in the first place, I'd be pissed off. I absolutely would be pissed off. If I'm the front office of Atlanta United, if I'm AMBSC, I am pissed. And because of this news with Thiago Almada, that's why I wondered how many other creditors existed for Eagle Football Holdings. And getting into the Boa Vista story, the same kind of deal. How many folks are not being paid from any transaction that's in line? Where's Atlanta United stand in all of this for the 3+ interest and the 18+ interest? FIFA said, yeah, you got to pay up. And then if you don't, then you end up with the freezing of transfers and things like that. You would get a transfer ban and all that kind of stuff. And that's why back in November, John Texter went to the budget folks, the DNCG, and was like, well, I could slide money from Botafogo over here to help out Leon. They were like, nah, that's not how this works. But word gets around. I would hope in this industry that if someone does you wrong, then it's going to be public, because nothing is private these days when it comes to transactions. People are going to know, and they're going to remember. How many folks are going to want to deal with an organization that doesn't pay substantial bills? 8 figures to the left of the decimal place is a lot of money. How many times are people going to come knocking on your door? Hey, I'm interested in so-and-so. Or if Botafogo comes knocking on your door. Hey, we're interested in so-and-so. Oh, really? You are? You are? So what's it worth to you? Do you? Do you know what this means? People don't forget. Businessmen don't forget when deals don't go right, when you're not treated fairly in a business deal. Word gets around. You don't know who knows who. In business, assume always that everyone has a connection to everyone else. Treat everyone fairly, because you never know when it could come back around. Treat everyone fairly. It's one of the few things that I always try to remember on a daily basis. Treat everyone fairly. Everyone gets a handshake and a hi, and treated with the utmost respect 100% of the time. It's how we should always be. Treat everyone fairly. People are going to remember what's going on involving Botafogo, multiple transactions and ownership groups and all that kind of stuff. It's a small world owning big business. So we'll see. Abby on Brad. Do you think it speeds up his retirement plans? Don't know. I think Brad's just a badass, and he's going to play until he can't play anymore. Badass. Yes, I know. Finally, a Tuesday match at home at a regular time. Absolutely true. Then we got into the DAZN discussion. Then 4Card's going to delete it after Sunday. Smart play. I'll probably have to remember that too. Morning, David. Morning, Ropes. Morning, Abby. Morning, Wiley. David, back to players being paid for COD. I mean, it's like pay it, yeah. Instead of in installments, 100% rock and roll right now. Basically, you're gonna pay it all up now. Nope. And that's the thing. That's the other part of this. If you are an ownership group, if you're Die Young, you don't have a chance in hell of getting anything from anybody. Unless it's COD, I need to see it, bring the briefcase. You know, there are a lot of folks right now that are looked at that way. And John Texter and Eagle Football Holdings might be heading in that direction. You want the deal, bring the briefcase. So we'll see. What to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. We talked about what's going on with the two matches tonight in Major League Soccer. Revs and Messi and Friends. Messi and Friends favored. Now it's a plus 144. Went up a little bit. And LAFC big favorite at home, hosting Rapids. Rapids are creeping away from plus 600 there to plus 595 in the composite. Folks got to make up matches, and this is one of those situations where. Okay, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, gossip, rumor, and innuendo. And then remember, tonight, 7 o'clock, pregame show, Atlanta United 2 on our Mixler channel, soccerdownhere.mixler.com, hosting FC Cincinnati 2, 7:33 kick. Jason, Maddie, me, we'll all be there. You'll hear from Steve Cook. You'll hear from Javi Armas. We'll get you ready for the game. We'll take the tour for through MLS Next Pro because it's been a while. We'll catch you up with what's going on there in MLS Next Pro and keep you posted on everything going on in and around the league. All right, today, Union and Red Bull, 7 o'clock, quarterfinals, U.S. Open Cup. This is the other half of the bracket. Canadian Premier League doubleheader on FS2, 7 and 10. Montreal and Forge, Vancouver and Valor, 7 and 10. Semifinal PSG and Real Madrid on 2 to NA, Unimas, DAZN USA. It is MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. New England, Messi and Friends at 7:30. It is LAFC in Colorado at 10:25. Paramount Plus has both your quarterfinals. Red Bulls and Union at Nashville and DC. We'll go through juice boxes in a sec. Women's side. AFCON is on BN. Zambia, Senegal at noon. Congo, Morocco at 3. Fox FS1 has England and the Netherlands being simulcast at noon on 2 to NA. France and Wales is 3 o'clock on Big FOX. So that is today on your televisions or however you wish to look at things these days. Also on the, no, I don't want that. So gossip, rumor, and innuendo. Once again, check your sources, check your sources, check your sources. Arsenal prepared to offer a player swap for Crystal Palace's Eberici Eze, looks set to beat Spurs. That's from the 3-letter paper. Brentford likely to demand $65 million for Brian Mbeumo, having already rejected bids of $55 and $62.5 for Manchester United. Sporting and Victor Gyökeres prepared to wait until the end of the summer window to get the loan deal to another European club if his move to Arsenal doesn't materialize, 3-letter paper. England's Jadon Sancho prepared to take a significant pay cut in order to move from Manchester United to Juve, but the Serie A club still unwilling to meet the terms. Forest targeting a move for PSV Eindhoven and Belgian winger Johan Bakayoko as they line up a replacement for Anthony Elanga set to move to Newcastle. Manchester United set to get £8 million as part of a sell-on clause they negotiated when they sold Elanga to Forest in 2023. Forest also considering Malik Fofana, with the Lyon winger also linked to Chelsea and Bayern Munich. Unai Emery keen to bring Ferran Torres to Villa, prepared to offer £43 million for the Spaniard. Attempts to sign Valencia defender Christian Mosquera have stalled, as Valencia is asking for more than £20 million for the international player. Bayern held talks with Christopher Nkunku's agent as they consider a move for the striker. Napoli made a £42 million bid for Darwin Nunez from Liverpool. It's from Gianluca Di Marzio. Sunderland close to completing the deal to sign 20-year-old Moroccan forward Shemsdine Talbi from Club Bruges. Atalanta have rejected a £45.7 million offer from Al-Qadsia from Matteo Retegui, as the Serie A side wants $51.8 million for the 26-year-old. Everton interested in signing Mark Travers, who impressed on loan at Middlesbrough from Bournemouth last season. Burnley preparing an £18 million move for Josh Sargent. Leeds also remain interested in the USA international. Everton chasing Middlesbrough midfielder Hayden Hackney. West Ham, Brentford, Fulham, Palace monitoring the 23-year-old who's attracting interest from Porto, Stuttgart, and Bayer Leverkusen. Rangers have joined Wrexham in the chase for Sheffield Wednesday forward Josh Windass. Ipswich going after Jens Kajust from Napoli on loan. Wickham's move for Rangers defender Leon King broken down over personal terms. Let's go to our buddy Ben Jacobs, see what's on Ben's mind in the morning ladder, and find out what's up there. Ben's been very, very busy. Everton confirmed Tierno Barries joined from Villarreal for £27.5 million. France U21 international signing a 4-year deal. Manchester United are abandoning the preseason gift giving, starting with Leeds United in Stockholm. It is viewed as old-fashioned, especially against familiar foes. Rival clubs believe it's a cost-cutting measure and are surprised to learn of it. This is from his Talk Sport discussions. You know how you exchange the pennants and everything like that at the beginning of the rivalry matchups and things like that? You get pennants and gifts, preseason friendlies. They're not going to do that when they take on Leeds in Stockholm in 10 days. Summer series, West Ham, Bournemouth, Everton, likely to be devoid of gift giving. Remains to be seen whether United change their approach for Fiorentina at Old Trafford on August 9th. During preseason, clubs tend to exchange personalized shirts and other club merch, given some custom items for each friendly, like silverware and things like that. Often viewed as displayable and unique, for clubs who only get to face a team like Manchester United during the offseason, the gifts become a gesture of goodwill, forging relationships between executives. The exchange of the pennant tends to happen before the match. You know, they exchange the pennant, the fat pennant, not like the ones that we have on our walls. And then they take the picture. Everybody puts their arm around one another, holding each other's pennant. You sit there and you smile. Take the pictures and you move on. Manchester United plan instead to put some budget toward hosting rival executives, starting with a planned drinks reception with Leeds officials in Stockholm, given United faced Leeds 12 months ago in Oslo, and are going to play them in the Premier League. There's a feeling preseason gifts are needless and even old-fashioned. Although United insists their move away from gift-giving is not budget-driven. Remember the cost-cutting measures by Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos. Hundreds of redundancies and closing of the staff canteen. Funding to the club's charitable arm has been reduced. Ratcliffe, remember, also ended Alex Ferguson's ambassadorial role. Brian Robson, Andy Cole, Dennis Irwin have had their salaries cut. Broader effort to address the club's financial losses, which have exceeded £300 million over the past 3 years. So no pennant for you, according to Ben Jacobs. Anton Ferdinand tells Jacobs and the Market Madness show West Ham should sign his former Sunderland teammate Jordan Henderson. Henderson's looking for a way out at Ajax. James McAtee could leave Manchester City, especially if he is looking for a move. Played more games for the first team than Cole Palmer when he left for Chelsea. Valuation will reflect the move if that materializes. Arsenal have now opened formal talks with Chelsea for Noni Madueke, according to David Ornstein, £55 million plus a package, citing Ilanga's Newcastle move. CFC sources are clear. With Madueke fee add-ons, you got to start with a 5. Arsenal wanted to try it for between 40 and 45. Sunderland set to sign Brighton winger Simon Adingra. Permanent deal worth in excess of 20, undergoing his medical for Sunderland today. Spurs weighing up a move for Brentford Joan Vissa, driven by Thomas Frank. Vissa keen on a move. Brentford don't want to lose both Vissa and Mbeumo in the same window. Palmeiras confirmed Ramon Sosa's joined from Nottingham Forest for a £10 million fee. Jordan Henderson's leaving Ajax after turning down the option to extend his deal. Becomes a free agent, literally. Key meeting today at Galatasaray as they try to reach an agreement on the structure with Napoli to sign Victor Osimhen. Galatasaray is confident of agreeing to a payment structure with Napoli to sign him, hoping for a breakthrough this week. Bournemouth also keen on signing Georgi Petrovic. Strasbourg would like to sign Petrovic permanently also, but he is exploring other options. Chelsea is seeking €30 million as there is a pact with Petrovic allowing him to leave for the number. Clubs have yet to agree to a fee. Petrovic is open to time at Bournemouth. Scanning. Okay, so Real Madrid today, once again, Real Madrid PSG, once again, no Pacho and no Lucas for the Club World Cup today. So let's go to FIFA Club World Cup. Look at the juice boxes. PSG still favored at a plus 138. Real Madrid a plus 189. And your 90-minute draw is a plus 259. Trying to see if I've missed anything when it comes to gossip, rumor, innuendo, news, notes, and all of the things. I think we're okay. I think we got everything. So once again, remember, you'll hear Kaylor Hodges' Birmingham discussion on the 1-0 loss to Indy 11. That'll be up on the network later today. Also, you'll hear the interview with Juan Hernandez. That'll be up on the network on the audio side, as well as our segment with Tyler Pilgrim from our friends at SNS and their show tonight. Big studio announcement for Atlanta United. Very, very cool when that was announced. Emory Healthcare Studios. Very, very cool. Keeping an eye on all of that. There was was there something else? So Minnesota United, Austin win in theirs. Minnesota wins in extra time. You got the semifinals berth. Los Verdes won in penalties, as it was Owen Wolf getting the winner against San Jose. So they advance 4-2 in penalties. Once again, pregame 7 o'clock, kick 7:33. That is correct, isn't it? 7:33? Yeah, 7:33 kick, 7 o'clock pregame. Soccerdownhere.mixlr.com. Atlanta United 2, FC Cincinnati 2. Beginning of a big weekend with Atlanta United 2, and so on. So once again, thanks for everybody for dropping by this morning. Thanks to Nick for coming in. Thanks to Juan Hernandez. Thanks to Tyler. And thanks to all y'all for coming in. Back at it again, a little less than 22. And we got the twos tonight. We got more stuff tomorrow. Power Hour with Nino and Nico. We'll talk Portugal, talk players, talk Mihai, and what he was at Famalicão going forward for Atlanta United come the 24th. All right, that's it. We're out. Mucha plata, y'all. Play it safe. End of the show. That means we get to do this. See you later.